Good evening. How are you doing tonight? It's here. I know I've talked about this a few times now, and I've been waiting to start it forever, longer than I want to admit. But I'm going to finally try to show off some of what I've gotten started and keep going. This will be the first time I stream what I'm calling Project Sentinel, which is my kind of personal pet project of writing AI and space engineers. Um, yeah, if you're familiar with space engineers, you might know that a new expansion dropped not that long ago, a month, a few weeks at least. Unfortunately, I probably won't be doing anything with that anytime soon. Uh, I mean, I'll take advantage of it eventually, but um, yeah, basically ever since I found out there were programmable blocks in space engineers where I could write my own scripts, I wanted to write them to do ridiculous things. Took some AI classes in college, and it's super interesting to me. And yeah, I've done a little bit on and off for a long time. For a long time, the tools weren't really there. The tools to help make this work more easily have improved greatly, and I've finally had the right motivation and availability at the right time, and yeah, I'm gonna see about doing this. Um, what I kind of want to do today is just give sort of a tour of what I've done so far. I don't know if I'll actually get around to doing anything new, but I kind of just want to show off what I've worked on. Um, and yeah, I hope I have the motivation to continue streaming. That's a lot, because I think that streaming may actually be a way to make me stick with it for longer than I have in the past and actually accomplish even more. Um, so I'm going to start up by loading in a little bit older world that is where I got some of this started. Um, I guess I'll lead off too with, if you're not familiar with space engineers, um, the simplest um, comparison would be to call it Minecraft in space. Um, that's There are a lot of differences between the two games. Certainly, Space Engineers is, well, the world is not so blocky, but all the stuff you build still is. But the building of stuff is notably more complex. But you can think of it in that way. Um, but it's got a lot going on. There are probably better descriptions, and other people could probably describe it better than I can. Um, but you build spaceships and space stations and survive. Part of the inspiration for this too was that the game doesn't have a lot in the way of AI to interact with, NPCs and whatnot. More of that's been added over the years since I first kind of wanted to do this. Also, I know people have added things via mods. Um, but, even if that stuff exists, this is a fun project for me. So, as you'll find out, what I've done so far is stuff that exists. To be, in my defense, it didn't exist when I started this, but again, we're not going to talk about how long ago that was. Uh, but yeah, anyway, yeah, here's my engineer. Um, oh yeah, I've got the medieval engineers costume on. Never did play a lot of that. It was another game made by the same developers. I didn't play as much of it, but I do own it, so got the fun looking skin, which is fun. Um, but yeah, so anyway, to talk a little bit more about what I have so far and what I'm wanting to do is I'm really starting relatively simple. Um, I'm working on basic routing, um, you know, simple autopilot, which, like I said, did not exist when I started this. It does now. The remote control blocks have got an autopilot that can take you from point A to point B. At the moment, I actually don't remember if it can avoid obstacles or not. I'd have to test that. My algorithm can't yet either. Still coming. Still coming. But, you know, got to start somewhere. I figure if I can start with the control of individual thrusters, we can kind of expand out from there to controlling whatever the hell we want that goes far beyond far beyond what the simple autopilot has. So let's kind of show a little bit of this in action. I mean, this is just a little starter world base. This stuff out here is what I actually had built. This world I actually put together for testing a genetic algorithm, which is not a very efficient way to do pathfinding of any sort. But I was going through some, you know, tutorial stuff, and it helped to kind of, you know, get back into the flow of things that I once knew. And what it really helped with was getting used to the interface of the scripting, with getting to know the blocks better, because it was less complicated to write. And what it does is actually pretty cool. And I'm actually going to go ahead and fire this off. It should just work if I hit this. So what I have is just a series of, what is it, like 10 I have right now? I had more at one time, but looks like right now I have 10. 10 of these little welding stations that are each building their own little ship. And they're all separated so that I could just easily copy and paste and make more. Yeah, they're all controlled. You can see the ships are off flying away now. The ships have been instructed to self-destruct, and I made sure they went a plenty safe distance away from anything I care about before doing so. But yeah, all the controls are happening from this one brain programmable block that's sending a series of instructions out to each of the welders to build their ships, and then once the welders are done building, they let it know. It sends instructions to the ships themselves so that they run their commands. It's fun, and yeah, getting the remote communication down was a really interesting. It was really interesting to write, and it will be very reusable through my other stuff too, which is great. But to describe what this is actually trying to do, right now my ships have the simple goal of going from where they start to forward about 10 meters, 8 meters, something like that. I don't remember exactly what I set it to. They don't have to go very far, and really all they have to do is fire their rear thruster. But the way it's done, and you know, I told you this was not efficient, but it's practice. The way it's done via this algorithm is each one's given a set of random instructions. I'm only firing the forward, reverse, up and down thrusters, not messing with the left and right, so I don't run into the welders. But yeah, each one's given a set of random instructions, and I have it follow those instructions. Sorry, I forgot that was so loud now that I'm close. I have it follow the instructions, and then once it's done, I have it send back to the brain how close it got to its goal. So you can see it, yeah, firing the different thrusters in whatever order it's been given. Sends the result back to the brain, and so the brain accumulates all this and knows how good each one did. And then the way the genetic algorithm works is it takes the best I'm going to back away. This is a little less sound. It takes the best results from this population, and this very limited population of 10 is not going to be particularly good at narrowing down results quickly. But it takes the best results and uses those as a starting point for the next generation. So the genetic algorithm is based on, biological genetics that we've observed, passing on the characteristics of good results onto the next generation so that they should be even better. In this case, it's kind of I guess you'd say it's asexual reproduction, because I'm not combining them in any way. I'm just saying, hey, these were good ones. Make changes based on those. They're still random changes, but in theory, over enough time, they result in a good outcome. And that is what I found. I know I used a larger population, but I didn't really want to reset that up because I don't use this world anymore. But yeah, it's like I said, it's really inefficient. I mean, I'm sure there are ways to use genetic algorithms in a more efficient way, but generally genetic algorithms are used more for refining general approaches than finding one specific path through space. But anyway, it was really cool, the way it worked, and I was really happy with these results, and I figured I could use this to turn it into something more useful. And yeah, we're not going to let this run until I get something that looks good, especially since it'll be really hard to tell, and it will probably take a while since it's only running 10 at a time. But anyway, that's kind of the gist of what this was. This is just my template ship that I use to update the script, and then I update the projector blocks that are down there. Also, yeah, I'm obviously using a lot of stuff that's kind of, I don't know, specific to knowledge about certain parts of Space Engineers. I know most people don't play it this way, I don't think. I'm doing all this stuff in creative, but the goal is to make things that are useful in survival one day. I guess I don't know that I stated it. My end goal is basically to create an AI faction that can operate in survival mode, and gather the resources it needs, and do all the things it needs. Obviously, we're a long way away from that. But yeah, this is pretty cool. And now, yeah, I'm going to save. That's fine. I can just. It was in a good spot, so I don't have to don't have to change anything, just in case I want to go back. But yeah, now I'll show. So instead of a genetic algorithm, I used an algorithm called A-star for a much more appropriate routing. It's still, don't get me wrong, it's still over-engineered as hell. But that's kind of the point. And yeah, so this time I only have one welder, one ship at a time. It does all the calculations internally and then does its thing. It's not a trial and error sort of thing like the genetic algorithm was. But yeah, I can show. Let's see. I don't remember what it's actually set for right now, but I can look. I don't remember what I left it set for. Okay, so I currently have it searching for a route that is 16 meters forward of its initial position, 8 meters above, and 4 to the right. And I'll go ahead and hit this, and I'll fly over closer so I can see it a little bit better. It'll build the one ship. The calculation doesn't take particularly long. And then once the arm gets all the way back down is when the brain sends the command to do its calculations. But yeah, you can see it's a little bit up, and then at this point, yeah, it doesn't really pause there. It just goes off on its self-destruct mission again. And this one's not self-repeating like the other was, because it's just a one-time calculation. It's not an evolving over time sort of thing. Yeah, that For some reason, that felt like it was going to be more climactic. That was rather anticlimactic. That's the result of, like, I mean, like I said, a long time, but more recently, like a few weeks of, you know, a few weeks of a couple hours every, who knows how many nights. So it's not like I get tons and tons of straight time to work on this, but it's pretty cool, and I can show that, like, I can also, you know, tweak it around, have it set up so I can pretty easily adjust the goal. So say, you know, we don't want to go forward at all, sure, still go 8 up and try going 16 to the right. Update the script on my template ship. I can copy that and update the blueprint so that I can update the blueprint on the projector. This is a little tedious, but now the projector has been updated to this new ship that has the new script, or the modified variables in the script, and we can run it again. And this time it should go up a little bit and much further out to the right before being instructed to fly off into oblivion and be destroyed. I should have put like waypoints up so I could show off it actually reaching those points. But yeah, there you go. A little up, more to the right, and then it goes. Yeah, at this point. Oh, game's frozen. Like, it should be blowing up. There we go. Yeah, at this point, it's kind of straightforward in how it does that, or well, it's straightforward in the end result. But it's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, I can show off a little bit of the. I've got some logs coming back to the brain. They're a little bit messy, but they'll be kind of cool to show off. So yeah, right now it's got just acknowledgements from the instructions it's sending off to the welder. Welder goes, sent instructions to the ship. Ship reports back. This is all the stuff it did. I added in a bunch of logs to test also the actual positions that the ship reached upon executing the instructions compared to the compared to the positions I was calculating that we should reach as part of the algorithm. And they're actually not quite right. They're a little off. And I'm not quite sure where that is, but they're close enough that I was certain the gist of the algorithm was working. I may just be messing up something in my physics calculations, I'm not sure. But I also figured that might be a fun experiment to stream at some point, just to kind of figure out where that's off. So that's kind of the plan. But yeah, I can see. Oh, I guess, yeah, these aren't very descriptive. I could have updated the names. I know that thruster 2 is the thruster on the bottom of the ship that propels it upwards, and thruster 7 is the thruster on the left side of the ship that causes it to go right. So, you know, it lets me know that, yeah, we're going up into the right, up into the right, up into the right, and then a bunch of 7 just flying out to the right. Oh, it actually did 3. That's surprising. That's probably the top thruster. Alright, it wouldn't normally do that. Or would it? Or is that right? Would it want to balance out? Shouldn't need to. Wow. Yeah, these look a little off. Okay. So, it's not perfectly, and yeah, and then it repeats most of it again, just because of the logging I have in this script. But yeah, you can see it starting from And I know now that the coordinates that are given are in meters. Um, that seems to be the units they're using. That's another thing that might affect my accuracy, is if I've got my units off. But it seems close enough that I think my units are right. But anyway, doesn't matter. But it's starting at -2, -5, -70. Um, and I could just scroll to the bottom, couldn't I? That's all right here. And so its x-coordinate doesn't shift very much. It's not necessarily, the ship where it gets constructed isn't necessarily perfectly aligned to the coordinates of the world, which are what these are, but you know, -2 stays pretty consistent on the x-axis. Um, changes a little bit going up from -5 to -2 on the y-axis, and quite a lot on the z, going from -70 to -82. And you can see the expected position is what my A-star algorithm calculated we should reach. And it actually was a little bit off. The y is actually, rather than -2, it actually went all the way to -2.4 and all the way to +2.4. And instead of -82.9, we were at -86. So it's off, but it's not off by a lot. It's moving in the right direction. It's actually overshooting my calculations a little bit. And I don't know why that is yet, but I intend to do some testing at one point of just, hey, I'm going to turn on this thruster, and I know the ship is this mass. Well, that's part of the problem. I don't actually know exactly which. There are a couple different mass calculations, and they can be a little different. And I wonder if I'm using the wrong one. But we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. It'll be fun. Yeah. And so yeah, so I used an A-star algorithm because it's something that I know, or I certainly at least knew when I was learning. I'm gonna move some of my jetpacks off, not making so much noise. Something I certainly knew pretty well when I was taking the AI courses in college. I haven't necessarily used it as much of late, but I was familiar. And it's very effective, it's very efficient for finding the route through a graph when the costs between all the nodes are known. And I'm basically just treating space as this graph. Well, that's not actually exactly true, but I'm treating points in time that are a specific section of time separated. In this case, the game's divided into ticks. There are 60 ticks in a second. And right now I'm doing, I'm evaluating things every 10 ticks, so that it doesn't have to get way too complicated. Yeah, essentially I'm looking at where the ship could exist in every 10 ticks of time, depending on which thrusters I'm firing. And that essentially creates a graph that you can traverse with the A-star algorithm. And it's very efficient at finding the path if you have the right heuristic function, which is a way to guess how far you have to go to reach your goal. So it takes into account how far you've already come and how far you think you're going to have to go, and can route based on that. And if you can create a perfect heuristic where if you can create a perfect heuristic, you don't need the A-star algorithm because you know exactly how to get where you're going. But if you can create a perfect heuristic that can accurately guess how far you can go, you'll find your path there basically right away. And in a game where all the physics are simulated, I actually should be able to predict exactly what's required to get where I want to go, especially in open space. It'll get a little bit more complicated, and that's where the A-star is actually useful when there are obstacles to avoid, because we'll think that, hey, to get from this side of this armor to the other side should be a straight line, it should be very simple. Well, in reality, it's going to end up being a little more complicated than that because we're going to have to fly around it. But the A-star algorithm takes that into account very efficiently, and still finds an optimal route. Um, and so it's very cool. Um, the thing about it, though, is that's one of the only algorithms I'm particularly familiar with, and I'm relatively certain there are better ones for, navigating oneself in three-dimensional space, um, continuous three-dimensional space. And I want to learn more about that. I'm looking forward to doing some research, finding some things to try. I'm hoping that there are some people who are interested in this kind of thing who end up coming in to watch, who might even be able to give me suggestions. Um, Certainly let me know. Um, you know, when you see things that are like, hey, have you thought about trying this? Like, no, I probably haven't heard of it, but I would be love to learn about it. That's kind of the goal here. I mean, you know, the the stated goal is to create this cool thing, but I wanna learn these new things because I think they're interesting and I think it's fun. Uh, so yeah, that's what I'm really looking forward to is kind of exploring new ways of doing this stuff. Um, but even before then, I've got a whole mess of ways to improve upon this. Um, just the basic algorithm we got so far. Um, Actually, yeah, let me pull that up. I made a little list. It's very official. I guess I have to change what my feed is here. Here we go. Show me monitor 1. Perfect. Next. Done. There we go. Good. Should be able to see my nice, very official looking Notepad++ list. I'll make the font a little bit bigger just to make sure it comes through nicely. Um, my preview screen is very small and I cannot read it on there. Hopefully the stream is better quality, but regardless. Yeah, I mean, I've already got a bunch of things planned out on ways to improve this, and these are things that I wanted to get to this point off stream because it seemed like there was going to be a lot of grind that might not be very interesting to watch. But these are things that I think might be totally feasible to do on stream. I won't necessarily do all of it on stream. Certainly there are nights that I'm not up for it, but might still want to do some work on this. But yeah, simple things like braking. Right now, the ship is trying to get to a point in space, and it does not give a damn how fast it's going when it gets there. Uh, but I'd like it to be able to route to a point in space and stop there. So that's going to be an early addition. Um, but the math's a lot simpler if I don't have to think about that. So we didn't do that. Also, you may have noticed the ship does not rotate at all. Um, Definitely will add in the ability to manipulate gyroscopes. That's going to make the math a lot more complicated. But it is also going to make the algorithm a lot more powerful, and it's going to make the paths much simpler too. Also, one thing I'm really looking forward to once I have that, I'm wanting to experiment with giving a ship commands when all the ship's got is a gyroscope and one thruster. That'll be fun to watch. So it's forced to orient the ship in the direction of the one thruster and fire from there, and brake by flipping the thruster back around to the other direction and firing it in the opposite direction. That sounds like it'll be just a hoot to watch. So yeah, but the ability to just simply rotate the ship so that the most powerful thrusters are facing, so that they can accelerate you the quickest, will be a sweet improvement, and something that you would expect ships to naturally do. Also, you probably couldn't necessarily tell from the brief tests, but right now my thrusters are always firing either at max thrust or zero thrust, which is partly because, like I mentioned with the A-star algorithm, it kind of has to track over discrete points. So it's much simpler to traverse if I'm only, if I'm creating fewer children's states from each point. because each thruster can just be on or off and nothing else. Um, if the thruster can be anywhere in between, suddenly that's, I mean, theoretically infinite, but functionally a lot more potential positions to evaluate. And that's one of those things where I'm pretty sure there's a better algorithm that more accounts for those kind of continuous variables. And that's something I have to find out more about. Um, One of the big things early on, well, maybe not early on, but early-ish, will be adding in sensors, getting an idea of what obstacles are around, specifically for the purpose of not crashing into them. Again, this might even be something that the built-in AI already has, the autopilot, the remote control blocks autopilot has. I don't know. Actually, that'd be a great thing to test after this. So we'll do some of that. That sounds fun because I want to know more about what the autopilot can do. Because I haven't messed with it much. But yeah, once our ship is capable of slowing down, orienting itself, going at whatever speed it needs to be most efficient and not crashing into things, we can basically make a ship go wherever we want, and theoretically safely. Oh, I didn't even add in aiming, firing weapons. That was something I meant to add. I mean, it's implied later on, but I know the new Warfare update actually added some new tools for doing that in the game as it exists. But I'm still kind of curious to write my own as part of this kind of exercise and see how it turns out. Maybe mine are better than what the game's able to do if I can add in good predictions of where the enemies are going to be, that kind of thing. Maybe it turns out that they're not as good, or I can't quite figure out how to make them better, and they're always worse. In that case, we can probably find ways to integrate what exists in the game into our own AI. That even applies to the remote control block autopilot too. Like, I want to be able to set this up and have my own, raw pathfinding algorithm that can do it at once. But it may turn out that for processing time alone, using the built-in autopilot in game may be far more efficient and good enough to get us where we want to go. Maybe we enact the more refined autopilot in docking scenarios or very specific cases, but most of the time the built-in autopilot may be sufficient, and that can become part of the overall algorithm. Is, hey, you got to go a long distance? Yeah, just engage that and let it run. Don't spend extra processing time running through all my script nonsense. Because if I want to create a whole AI faction, there are going to be a lot of scripts running, and that's going to slow down servers real bad. Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, once basic functions like that are done, I want to turn them into complete ships. One of the easy ones to say is a miner. I can make a mining ship that is able to search out ores, ores in general or specific ones I want it to do. Have it go searching through asteroids, identifying what it needs to, mine it out, bring it back, dock it at my station, deposit it, and just head back out for more. A great survival assist thing. Having, ships to aid in construction or deconstruction seem great. I know a lot of people have created interesting ways to, auto welders for building large ships and that kind of thing. And that's something I can explore. I know there are mods that add like nanobots to do that too, to make it really easy. But this is supposed to be a fun AI exercise, so I think it'd be fun to build a ship that builds bigger ships. And maybe it's not a ship, maybe it is a station kind of thing. But either way, we put AI into it and see what it can do. I think that'll be fun.
there are plenty of existing ways to make dumb drones that can just fly up to something and blow the hell out of it. But probably will make some of my own, and really hoping to see one day something that can dogfight a human and try and anticipate its moves and dodge potential attacks while aligning its own guns. That sounds very complex and a very fun problem to try to solve. Got to do some of these other things first. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I'm excited. It's fine. And once you've got a bunch of these ships, you can start turning that into something that can operate theoretically without a human. You got a mother brain or whatever at the center, and maybe we turn it into a hive mind. That kind of thing hasn't been necessarily set in stone yet, but there are plenty of sci-fi examples of why you don't want your entire network controlled from a single point, because then it can just be destroyed and shut down. But yeah, turning it into something that knows, like, all right, it's got to start out with some resources, but so do the human players. Says, okay, yeah, got to go get uranium to keep things powered up, and/or construct some, solar panels, whatever else. And it's just capable of doing whatever it is we determine it needs to do. It doesn't necessarily have to be a hostile faction. Hostile. What did I say? Never mind. But presumably that will be one of the fun things to do with it. But it can be a lot of different things, and capable of coordinating ships. That's not even necessarily, attack formations or anything, but just being capable of saying, hey, we've got miners going this way, that way, spread them out so we can most efficiently find ore, send scouts over here to update, our mapping, so we have a pretty good idea of what the area looks like, so we can plot courses better, have it capable of building new ships. I even hope I can set up a way to have it design its own ships. That'll be really fun. I don't know how best to do that. But I feel like, I have not tested this, but I feel like if I had enough projector blocks set up, and have each projector block assigned a blueprint that is just a single block, and I have a projector for every block in the game, then I can use those projectors to build a ship of any design from scratch. I don't know if that actually works. If it doesn't now, hopefully it will by the time I get around to doing this. If not, hey, maybe that's when I learn how to actually mod this game. That's the other thing. I don't know. I don't have any idea how to do modding within this game. Haven't tried. This is all in the in-game scripts and the programmable blocks. I've got tools to help me do the programming. Don't get me wrong. I'm not typing it all in the in-game interface because that's miserable. But yeah, it's at the moment it's all vanilla, and using mods would be fun, but I don't want to overcomplicate things just yet. Yeah, and then I already talked about this, but yeah, I just want to learn new stuff, learn the best ways to do this that aren't the things I already know, because that's what'll be really fun. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, before I go on to other stuff, yeah, why don't I show off some of the code stuff. I'm not gonna like go by the code line by line, but I kind of want to just give a preview of what I've got. I did set up. Hopefully these work nicely. I did set up a couple scenes here where I can do multiple inputs. Here we go. So I have a little picture-in-picture thing. I just don't really need it if I'm not actively doing anything in the game, but it will allow me. Oh, I'm gonna need a third monitor set up if I'm gonna be doing this, don't I? Oh no. Well, I mean, that oh no is kind of sarcastic. I wouldn't mind having a third monitor at home. It's very nice at work. Just haven't had really a need for it at my home office yet, so haven't pulled that trigger. But this might be the perfect excuse. I'm going to be running a game over here and an IDE over here, and want to also see my Twitch tools at the same time. Third monitor might be nice. But yeah, anyway, somebody with the... Oh, what was it? Somebody with the... I can't remember his like username that shows up online now. Malware. Malware. Yeah, it's a great username to want to trust, right? But no, it's fantastic. He wrote some plugin for Visual Studio, as well as a very comprehensive guide to integrating it and just using the Space Engineer's scripting API in general. That makes things very easy to write. So it all lives within this program class, and that ultimately gets well, I'll show it. But yeah, I've got this is my actually, which one is this? This is the ship. Yeah. Oh no. My kid's crying a little bit, but I think she's still sleeping. Yeah, she looks like she's still sleeping. Probably just a dream or something. Just one cry. Anyway, yes, this all ultimately gets imported into a single script in the thing. But I've got separate scripts that belong in my ship. One in the welder and one in that brain up on the dock. I also have a project for unit tests. It's not all tests covered, because who does that? It should be. It should be. I know it should be. I do this for a living. It should be tested. I also do this for a living, and no, it's never going to be fully covered in tests. But that's fine. But yeah, this is what the ship does. It's got some initialization. Up here is some fun. This is the communication. It's got listeners that will anything with antennas on it. Has in game you can see them, but that also, as long as they're within range of each other, they can wirelessly communicate essentially. So the brain is able to send messages since it's got its antenna, and my ship prototype obviously has one included so that it can do that communication. Basically, the brain sends out, after it's done being built, the brain sends out a broadcast message so that it knows who it's talking to, and then it can send it instructions. So like it's looking to register itself with the brain, and then, hey, go plot your course. It sends back a message later saying, hey, I used this algorithm. I know how to get where I'm going. Brain says, great, do that. Fires the thrusters that were determined, and then sends back, says, hey, I'm done, and the brain says, good, I don't need you anymore. Go blow up. Yeah, and then just depending on what it's been told to do, got it directed various places. And yeah, the great thing about this, it's not quite as structured as I'm used to, but even so, like I can separate this into all these different classes, so that I can keep the code nice and separate, nice and clean. And then the MDK is the plugin. I don't remember what that stands for, or if it stands for anything. But you can deploy the script, and you can actually deploy all the scripts in the project at once. And once it does, scripts have been deployed, that's when you can go in and look in here, edit your script, and rather than typing things out so painfully, you can just browse scripts. And I do always have to refresh it after a new thing has been deployed while already in game. But yeah, then the latest version of my A-Star ship script is here, and I can import it in, and its contents will replace what's here. It's a few clicks to do, but it's a lot easier than typing in this very plain thing. But yeah, you can see here well, I guess you can't very easily see, but all of the classes get accumulated into one place so that it's readable by the game's interface. It's very impressive what this guy put together to make it so easy to code things up in Visual Studio and then export it right into the game. It's fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, and right, you guys didn't want to see me write all of this. I mean, you're going to get to see me write code, but it took a long time to get through all this. The newer stuff should be faster. I fully expect that the newer stuff will be more interesting. There will be less drudgery now that I've got the nice outline of everything started. But yeah, and I hope this picture-in-picture thing kind of works out nicely. I might mess around with the exact orientation of everything, but oh hey, I like how I've got little colorful strips at the top and bottom because yeah, that makes sense. Does it? Makes sense that there's space at the bottom because I think it's just capturing the program and not the window as a whole. So there's a little bit of space missing, but whatever. I might have to mess with that a little bit just to make it nice and clean. But I thought I did all right for a first shot at condensing 2 monitors worth of work into one display. I can't imagine anybody wants to watch me flip constantly back and forth between Visual Studio and Space Engineers either. I'm looking at them side by side, so it seems logical you would want to see them at the same time too. Yeah, that's kind of what it's doing so far. Yeah, let's switch back to just the gameplay screen. Let's do what I talked about and see what all the in-game autopilot's currently capable of. Because I didn't think too hard about how long it was going to take me to go through all this, but I wasn't really planning on doing much new coding today, so let's do some experimentation instead. I could probably just start a new world, but I also have this playground world I set up, and it's old too, but I know it's got a couple of the pre-generated starter ships in it, and you know, those sound easier to use. I am not good at designing ships. Not at all. I would much rather take these ships that somebody's built. That's why, I mean, you saw, I mentioned as part of my AI plan, I want to make an AI that's capable of designing its own ships, because I don't want to design the ships. That sounds terrible. But yeah, these ships will do. They'll be just fine. They might even have remote control blocks already installed. If they don't, I can certainly put one in. I guess this is where we check. Here. Remote? It does have remote control. Good. So, oops. Let's see. The remote control block works. Actually, okay. Rather than using the cockpit, I know I can just access it from here through this terminal. If I remember right, remote control block. Actually, let's add an asterisk to this name so it always shows up at the top of the list. Waypoints. Right. How do I add a waypoint? Triggers when... Oh, this must be new with the warfare. Triggers when this grid has been target locked by any other. That's kind of cool. It is the remote control block, right? That's what I'm thinking of. Or it has to be... Oh, here we go. Autopilot. On, off. Why is that? Oh, it does have collision avoid. Okay, I guess it has that ability then. And a precision. So it does have a collision avoidance option. That's good to know. like I said, I still want to write my own because I want to know how that interface works, and it could very well be valuable in, if I want to do something that's different than what this remote control is taking care of. Oh, I probably have to click this. Main remote control. No. Control. This is not main control. Okay. Is that why? Where's my... If I unclick that, is that better? No. Alright, maybe I'm gonna have to build my own ship. Maybe... Oh, shoot. I'm still in it. Oh, I'm still in it. That's why. There we go. That's why I couldn't click control. Alright. You don't need that, right? About now. Oh, hopefully this is the right one. Apparently there are 3. Okay, this one. Can I rename you? I don't know. Oh well, we found the right one. Can I control it now? Okay, I can. Oh, huh. Lost a landing gear. I disconnected the cockpit. Wow, why are you... Oh, I may have lost a lot of connections when I disconnected the cockpit. That may have been a terrible idea. Wait, but this is creative. Shouldn't all my thrusters and everything still work? Maybe not. Okay. Let's reload this. Let's just reload this. We'll be fine. Yeah. Hi. Alright, here we go. Okay. How do I want to approach this? More specifically, how do I set you up so that I'm just gonna unclick all of this right now. So that I'm allowed to turn on autopilot. Okay, well I do have control now, and now it's not totally crashing because things are disconnected. So that's good. Disconnect from that. Why can't I turn on autopilot? You know what? I'm gonna Google it real quick. A second. Control can't autopilot. Let's see. What do I need? Oh, just because it doesn't have any coordinates enabled, I guess. Alright, well that makes sense. So now I just have to figure out how to add the coordinates. That's fine. Let's look back here. How do I add... Oh, these are my... these are the GPS locations. Okay. I see. Alright, so I just need to add some locations as waypoints. So, sure. Let's come out here. Let's do this. What is the shortcut for the GPS? It's not G. I want to know. I know I can get to the menu just with I and K, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure I can get there from those, but there should be tours. Yeah. Sure. Is it advanced control? Might be. Alright. I'm just gonna go there this way. New current position. So that's fine. Let's call it 3. Let's go down here ways. Because why not? And we'll call this 4 is fine. I don't really care what they're called. I just want to see this in action. And then we'll go to the other side of the asteroid. Alright. So now, you can go. So 3 and. So just add. So I have 1. Autopilot's off. Well, I'm going to turn collision avoidance on for right now. Autopilot's off, but I have flight mode and patrol. If I do one way, okay, that makes sense. I only need 1 waypoint in order with 1-way flight in order to do it. Go. Nice. Well, see, that was much easier than writing my own code, wasn't it? First one now. Okay. And now if we add, let's see, 5 was on the other side of the asteroid. Say do patrol. I want to see it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm glad. I'm glad that it's not moving particularly efficiently. That makes me feel much better about my desire to write my own. I guess it did have a precision mode. Should we see what precision mode does? Okay, friend. Okay, friend. Let's turn autopilot off. Remove 5, 3, 1 way, go. So I'm curious what precision mode does. If that, it might make it more successful at navigating around. So finished. That's great. 5. Control. So precision mode on, autopilot on. Let's see what it does. Oh, might also go around the other direction since it's initially facing the other direction. It's going to find a different route that way. Okay. Oh, it was up high. I didn't realize my waypoint was up that high. Well, we might have to add 4 into the loop then to make sure it goes quickly. Yeah, that is a lot of thrusters firing. Top. Oh, not sure. Not sure. Yeah, the other thing, and again, like, what I've written so far is very simple. But at the moment, I'm calculating the complete route before I even start firing the thrusters. Clearly this ship is figuring it out as it goes. As it starts to get close to things, it tries to avoid them. But it doesn't. If it doesn't know they're there already, it can't. I'm hoping that long term, you know, I can give my ships a good picture of where they're going so that they can still compute the whole thing ahead of time. But necessarily evaluating things as we go is going to need to be part of that. So that's going to be, I don't know exactly how that, you know, factors into what algorithms I might be able to use. I know that things are going to be different when I have to do things in the middle and can't just plot it out ahead of time. I have some ideas, but I also suspect I'm going to need to do some of my own research. But yeah, this is terrible. Not saying my first attempt will be any better. But hey, this is good to know. Like I said, I wanted to know how it operated. So, what do you guys say? Let's let it get out a little further. There, it should be able to get there now. Cool. What do you say we turn off collision avoidance? Because, really, what is Space Engineers without a couple explosions? Probably won't be particularly spectacular, but man, why is your top speed so slow? Fly faster, boom bigger. Oh well, at least it's on fire. Okay, yeah, you avoid collision with the asteroid. Are you gonna try to avoid collision with me though? Less likely. Alright, now we can see it smoking. I wonder if it lost anything important. Okay. Well, hey, I'm glad that I tried that out. Yeah, like I said, I'm hopeful that I can do better. It's going to take a while, but I'm hopeful that I can do better. That's the plan. Oh, also, I realized when I said something earlier about the MDK, don't remember what it stands for. I don't think I had mentioned this. Though Sentinel, as I present it, certainly looks like an acronym, at the moment it's really not. I just thought it was a good word that I liked it. I liked it as a name for this. I actually do sort of feel like I could probably turn it into one day. I mean, it starts with SE, like I can just make it an acronym for Space Engineers, something, something, something. It doesn't even have to keep all the right letters. We don't have to spell Sentinel correctly. We're engineers. We don't have to spell anything correctly. But yeah, I might turn it into a backronym one day. But right now, it's just a word I like. I mean, also the idea of, you know, a Sentinel to, you know, the AI always watching, like, it's fitting, I thought. But in case you were curious, it does not, in fact, stand for anything. Yeah. Alright, well, what do I do now? It's only 11:30. It's not like I planned much out or anything, but I certainly didn't expect to, I don't know, I expected it to take more than an hour to get through just sort of demoing things, and it really didn't. So, yeah, what do I want to do? Could do some physics testing. I could start doing some programming on the braking, adding braking into my current algorithm. I think that's the next thing I want to add. Yeah, because the thing is, I don't really mind if if my calculated physics are a little off from the actual physics just yet. Um, as long as my calculated physics are at least consistent, that means the algorithm can come up with some result. Most likely I'm off by a factor of, some amount of mass or some amount of acceleration that I'm not accounting for, right? And so it's not going to affect the algorithm in terms of its, I guess, decision making. It's just like I'm scaled wrong. And so once I figure that out, I can put the changes in and everything should work fine. Um, if I'm adding and braking, then I'm adding in the ability to decelerate at the same rate I'm currently accelerating, in which case we should come to a stop either way. Might come to a stop in slightly the wrong place, but should come to a stop. So yeah, maybe that's fun. Let's look at it a little bit. Let's try doing some of that and see how it goes. Yeah, sure, we can save this. I'm fine saving that ship, just drunkenly meandering around. Go ahead and open back up my A-star world. Not necessarily going to be actively doing much in it, but let's see. Let's go back to this. Hopefully the, yeah, like I said, oh, that's showing that whole screen. Why is that showing that whole screen? I thought it was just supposed to show. I was going to move my studio to the other monitor so I could still see it. I thought you were supposed to just be screen capturing the space engineers. What are you doing, Jimmy Game? Oh, I see. No, it's because it's linked. So when I changed my capture from the full screen application to that monitor, here we go. On one scene and change it on all screens. There we go. Now I can have that on my other monitor and still, you guys don't have to see the infinitely recurring Twitch studios. But yeah, here I'll show a little bit of the meat of the code and have a reason to do so. All right, so where do I start? So I want to add in the ability for the algorithm to instruct the ship to brake. Well, or more specifically, I want to add in the ability for the algorithm to have the ship reach not only a location, but a location and a speed. Which, in this case, like, the speed we're mostly going to be looking for is 0. Have it come to a stop. So, yeah, so right now, convenient that I already had it right here on this particular class, I'm evaluating whether, a potential state is the goal, just based on whether the ship's position is within a certain distance of the goal position. Right now, for the tests I've been doing so far, which are not particularly far away, but a little bit, I'm checking within a meter, which is not very far or very far, depending on how you look at it. But considering the thrusters are only capable of firing at maximum, you got to give them a little wiggle room. Excuse me. I think once we add in the braking, it'll matter less because I'll be incentivized to move at slower speeds. But we'll have to see. We might need to mess around with that. We might need to enable variable thrust percentages. But anyway, yeah, let's take a look. Hold on, what's this? This is my brain. Let's just close that for now so I don't get confused. Because the main class for all of them has to be called program. I think it has to be called I actually haven't tested changing it, but I believe it actually has to be named program because that's the one that gets deployed. That's the one that everything else gets added to and then deployed. So the fact that I have, the ship program and the brain program gets a little confusing on the bar. Anyway, state already includes, I have already included position, linear velocity, and an angular velocity. I'm also rounding things so that the math of decimal rounding errors doesn't get way out of hand. So yeah, so I have all these. Angular velocity is still always going to be 0. We're not changing the gyroscopes yet, but we already have these as part of it. I just need to do this. So let's say is goal. So it is the goal if this is true and the speed is true. So you just do that as a big and, that's fine. How about in addition to a goal, how about we update this? I'm going to call it, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to call this goal position epsilon, and we're going to create another one called goal linear velocity epsilon, so that I can edit my exact thresholds between what I want each one to be at. And then we'll change our constructor, and I'll go ahead and add a new one. We'll go here, city epsilon, and naming it linear with the thought that at some point we're going to add in something about the angular velocity as well once we have the ability to rotate our ship. Turns out math's easier if your ship can't rotate. Who'd have thunk? That's not. Nope. It's the position. Perfect. And that's why we like Visual Studio, because it can autofill. Okay. Great. Goal. So the positions and velocities are both vectors. See. So by subtracting the vectors, we basically get the distance between the two vectors as a vector. So, we have the distance between the 2 points or the 2 speeds in each dimension, and so looking at the length gives us the scalar version of that. And there. Sure. And now if I were to put this back into the script just with this change, it would go nuts because it would not be able to correctly find the goal. And that's because of the heuristic function. So I mentioned the heuristic function. What this is a guess as to how the cost that it will take, and in our case the cost is, well, actually I have made a cost class because the cost is primarily the amount of time it will take, but as a tiebreaker for the amount of time it will take to reach the goal, I also have the number of thrusters
that will be fired in order to reach the goal. And this is actually the number of thrusters fired summed up over each tick. Not each tick, each step in time, which right now my steps in time are 10 ticks each, so I'll do 6 steps per second. So if I'm constantly firing one thruster for an entire second, that's 6 times of firing that thruster. And the reason that's necessary is because of the way the thrusters are oriented, it's possible to, fire, your up and down thruster together, and that's not going to move you anywhere. So if you fire your rear thruster and your up and down thrusters all together, you're going to go the same distance as if you just fired your rear thruster. You're going to go the exact same place in the exact same amount of time, because the two are going to cancel each other out. But I don't want the algorithm to evaluate both of those, because the one is just objectively worse. Even though they take the same amount of time, I don't want all that duplicated calculation. So I've added in the thruster count as a way to really streamline the algorithm's processing time. And it worked great. So anyway, that's our cost. So the heuristic is the guess as to how much cost it will take us to reach our destination. And right now the cost is basically get there as fast as possible, where we don't care how fast we're going when we get there. So firing thrusters all the way there. And in order for the algorithm to work, in order for A-star to find a solution in order for A-star to find an optimum solution, the heuristic has to be what they call admissible, which primarily means that it cannot it cannot overestimate, I'm saying this right, it cannot overestimate the actual cost it will take. The heuristic, your guess, has to be less than or equal to the time that it will actually take to get there. So you can guess that it'll take you no time to get there from any point, no matter where you are. And in that case, every new spot is treated relatively equally. Well, that's not entirely true, but what that creates is a breadth first search. And so you're spreading out, evaluating a very wide range of options. But by making your guess more and more accurate, that's why A-star gets so efficient, is because it can take that direct path. But right now, our heuristic is actually, wait, no, that means our heuristic is still admissible, doesn't it? We would underestimate the cost, because we would say, oh, I think I can get there faster because I can just blast my thrusters at full throttle. In reality, I know the ship has to slow down. But the guess that we can get there really fast is technically valid. The problem is that it might technically be able to get us there, but because the heuristic's going to be so bad, it will be really inefficient, and quite likely cause the scripts do have limitations on how much they allow you to execute in one go, which means I actually have to break up the algorithm across multiple ticks. And I can show off how that's done at some point. I won't go into it right now, but if I have to do too many recalculations of my heap, there won't be anything I can do about splitting that up, and it'll overflow the number of instructions that it's allowed to execute, and the game will say, oh, nope, your script's too complicated, I'm not running it, you gotta fix it. And it'll just stop, which is a great way to keep the game from crashing. and also a great way to make it a lot harder to write these things. But also is encouraging me to go about optimizing this ahead of time, which is something I'm going to want to do anyway, because I want it to get done fast. So yeah, so what I want to actually do is now take into account in my heuristic the fact that the ship needs to slow down. And so I'm going to talk through this, and hopefully it's in a way that makes sense to anybody listening, but is mostly for my own benefit of remembering exactly what I'm doing and what I might need to change. So what it is right now, go ahead and create, positional vector, this goal vector that's basically pointing in the direction that, in the direction of the goal from where the ship is now. So it's a straight line from where the ship is to where I want it to be in space. And I've got a unit vector it's that direction, but it's a length of 1, which is needed for some of the calculations here. Actually, maybe it's not needed. I don't think this actually has to be a unit vector for the dot product, but it's fine. I probably used it at one point and then I ended up not, but I kept it here, but it's fine. Anyway, I'm looking at, since I'm only caring about going in that direction and don't care how fast I am, I'm looking at each thruster, and the thruster's world matrix backward is the vector in the world space that's backwards on a thruster block, which is the forward direction on a thruster block is the direction of the thrust. So the backward of the thruster block is the direction that the ship will move if the thruster's firing forward, if the thruster's firing. So what I'm doing here is comparing my goal vector against the direction the ship would move if the thruster's fired. And if this dot product is greater than 0, that means they are, that basically means the angle between them is less than 90 degrees, and firing that thruster would move my ship in the general direction of the goal. So I'm considering that a significant thruster. Okay, so that could have to change, and the purpose of that is for calculating the number of thruster fires I would need. Yeah, okay, so that's just calculating which thrusters will get me towards the goal. So in theory, if the ship's already aligned with the goal, there's only one significant thruster in that case. And this is, well, and we're talking about a ship here that my ship only has one thruster in each direction. Oops. Like it's a very bare bones ship. I didn't actually show off the design of this ship. I mean, you know, design is whatever. It's certainly not pretty, but yeah, it was basically just I put it together to be the bare bones of what I needed. I honestly only put a landing gear on it so that my prototype ship would stick here, and I don't have to worry about it going anywhere. The ones that are out there don't care about it right now. It's got exactly one thruster in each direction. It has a gyroscope right now, just so that it doesn't rotate a whole bunch if it gets bumped. Later we'll start using it. It's got the programmable block. It's got a generator, whatever that's called. It's just a generator? What's the block actually called? Reactor. There's the word. Reactor. That didn't sound right. It's got a reactor so that everything has power. It's got a light that I can use in a couple different ways, mostly to show if it's reached its goal or not. It's got an antenna so it can communicate. It's got a remote control block, which is not used as much as you might think. It's actually, the remote control block is used for because it's considered a cockpit block, so it's able to calculate the mass of the ship as well as the ship's current speed, or its current velocity, more specifically. And then it's got a warhead so that I can blow it up when I'm done. And a really basic frame. Oh yeah, and the merge block so that it can be connected to the welder and then easily disconnected. But yeah, it's literally just a bare bones ship. But it works great for testing this kind of crap. Bring this back up just in case I can see. So yeah, so one thruster in each direction. That's all I'm worried about right now. Add in other stuff as technically the code would work if there are more thrusters in each direction, and it would see those here. It would be more efficient to calculate maybe if I grouped them, but again, like I said, right now I'm not worried about it. But yes, so I started talking about the heuristic function 10 minutes ago, and I'm not even into the actual calculations. That's called ADHD, friends. Turns out I have that. Anyway, so for each of the thrusters, and these are for each of the thrusters that could get us moving in the right direction. This is the direction it would move us. So if we project the goal vector, so this is the distance. This is pointing to the position we want to reach, and we project that down in the direction of the thruster we're currently looking at. Then this is how far we need to go in that particular direction, which is the only one this thruster can do anything about. Yeah, so this is the goal. This is the goal for this particular thruster. This is our current speed, again projected in that direction. So this is the ship's current speed in that direction, the only thing that thruster can do anything about. Well, the current velocity, and then the speed is its length. And if the speed is in the opposite direction, then the speed, if the velocity is in the opposite direction of the goal, then our speed should be negative. But the length of a vector can't be negative, but we should consider our speed negative because it's working against us. The max acceleration of this thruster is its max effective thrust divided by the ship mass. And this is the same mass I'm using everywhere. Like I said, there's a chance my mass calculation is not actually using the right one, but this is the one I'm using everywhere. The max effective thrust can vary depending on the type of thruster and the environment you're in, because ion thrusters work in space, but they don't work or barely work in atmosphere. And atmospheric thrusters work very well in atmosphere, but don't work at all in space. And hydrogen thrusters work everywhere. So depending on the type of thruster, the max effective thrust actually calculates how much thrust that thruster could actually provide. So you wouldn't be counting on your atmospheric thrusters for help in space. The downside is this actually is based on the ship's position while you're calculating it. So if you're calculating routes flying from atmosphere, in or out of atmosphere, I'd have to mess with this because this won't necessarily be accurate. But again, that's a problem for future me. Not worth worrying about yet. Everything's in space. It's fine. So that's the max. That's the fastest we can accelerate in the direction that this thruster can control. Now, ships and space engineers also have a maximum speed, 100 meters per second. I'm fairly confident there are mods that can change that, but like I said, right now we're just sticking with what's here. We will respect the fact that there's a max speed of 100 meters per second. So I do have to look at how long it would take my ship to reach 100 meters per second, because the distance I travel in 1/6 of a second is going to be different if I'm already at 100 meters per second, or I'm going to get to it within that 1/6 of a second, than it is if I'm not going to get to it in that 1/6 of a second. So the speed, this is the speed we're currently going. This is the maximum speed we can possibly reach, and this is the acceleration that we would be using if we fire this thruster. And I have a... Why is that over here? Where's my kinematic? Yeah, just open over here. That's fine. So I have a kinematics class with some just utility physics functions. Here we go. So this, I mean, this one's fairly straightforward. Not that I remembered any of these from my high school physics classes, but I remembered them upon looking them up. So the final speed we're targeting, minus the speed we're currently at, is a difference in velocity. You divide that by the acceleration, and that results in the time it takes. So this is how long it would take us to get to 100 meters per second. And a similar, or I mean not really similar, but a related equation is used to get the distance that you will travel between, over that amount of time. So if that distance is further away than our goal is, then we are going to hit our goal before we reach maximum speed. And that means we can be accelerating the entire time, because we won't have to worry about hitting that cap. We can do the calculations with constant acceleration. So with that, we get the time it takes to go from 0 to the distance to our goal, starting from the speed we're starting at the acceleration this thruster provides. And this one's a messy equation, because the calculation for that, the equation for that isn't as easily solved for time, because you have two time factors in there. But the quadratic equation we learned in middle school works. And when I was searching stuff about the quadratic equation in computers, I found out that using the normal quadratic equation actually of I don't actually have it written out here, but whatever it is, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I think that's what it is. I'm not going to sing it. I know most of everybody learned it to a song. I'm not going to sing it. Anyway, if you use that, your rounding errors can be really bad, depending on the coefficients you have. But there's a different formula that I read about that gets you the same stuff and is better for computers, because you're less likely, you don't suffer from the same extreme rounding error problems. So I used that instead. And I'm hoping this is right. This is actually one of the places that I'm afraid my math is actually off, and that's why my expected positions and actual positions are a little off, but we'll find out one day. That'll be part of the testing. But using that, we can solve for the amount of time it takes to get to our goal. And that's our guess. That's the heuristic. If we can accelerate the whole time, that's how long it takes to get there. And then looking at that time, I divide it by how many of my 1/6 of a second time steps it's going to take, or whatever I've assigned to the time step variable. How many of those steps it's going to take, and that will determine the number of thruster activations I think it's going to take to get there, because again, we're already planning on using them the entire time. So that's the easy calculation, if we're going to reach the goal before we ever hit the speed cap. In the other case, if we are going to hit the speed cap before we hit the goal, then we have this time it takes us to hit max speed plus the remaining distance to the goal divided by that max speed to get us that amount of time. And that's the amount of time we expect it to take. And in this case, the thruster activation count is only over the time it takes to reach max speed, as opposed to this one was the time of the entire time, because we'd actually be accelerating the whole time. But in this case, once we hit max speed, it's more efficient to just shut the thrusters off, because you're in space. There's no gravity, there's no air resistance, there's no nothing. And, you know, the laws of physics don't apply, because you can't go faster than 100 meters per second, but firing a thruster when you're already firing a thruster in the same direction that you're going when you're already going 100 meters per second has the same result as firing no thrusters. So firing no thrusters will already be better, and I don't want to overestimate my guess, because that will break the algorithm. And so whichever of those we use, we get a cost. So how do I update this to be able to break? I need a time. Oh boy. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. So I need to know how much time it takes to reach the target velocity. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm sorry, distracted. This whole thing. So I'm looking at each thruster individually for this, because since the ship is not rotating in any way at this point, we really can treat each axis independently. And so, you know, the forward and back thrusters can do their own thing to try and get me to the correct forward-backward position, and the right and left thrusters can do their own thing to get me to the right-left position. And I'm saying, you know, forward, back, and right, left instead of X and Y, because it's not necessarily aligned to the world grid. And then the same for the up, down, or Z-axis, or however it's aligned. They can each basically function independently to get to that portion of the goal. And yeah, that'll wait. Hold on. Oh, right. No, I did this right. I just wasn't paying attention to this thing. I was thinking, wait, did I do something terribly wrong? But yeah, so I'm looking at each axis, and I'm doing a math.max here. So I'm looking at the time cost it takes on every axis, and only that longest time matters, because the other two axes, you know, they're going to take less time for the ship to align correctly. And once it does align correctly, we're good. They don't care. They don't care. They'll be set. They won't have to worry about anything. They'll still be waiting on that longest axis. So only the max time is the time that counts. But for the thruster activations, that one you can see I'm actually adding to for each thruster, because all of the thrusters do have to fire. Yeah, this is still right. This is still right. So if we want to take into account braking, then I need to know how long it takes to go from, well, I need to know how long it takes to, go from a current speed,
my current speed to 0. But I also might still accelerate from my current speed before I start braking. Also, I want to set this up so that it's not necessarily reaching 0 as the target, but it's easier to say 0 and to think about it in terms of 0, and I shouldn't have a problem writing it in such a way that it's whatever the target speed is. So, let me think. Let's think about it in terms of 0. So, we need to know how long it takes to reach 0. I'm going to start typing some stuff out. Significant thrusters. We're going to have to look at more than just the significant thrusters, aren't we? We're going to have to look at every thruster, or at least every axis. Because it's no longer, because it could be, my guess could involve both accelerating with the rear thruster and then decelerating with the front thruster. And I can't assume there are an equal number of thrusters in each direction. I can for the purposes of my test ship, but I can't long term. Ooh, this is gonna be a lot. I think I have to look at each axis independently. I don't think looking at each thruster independently is going to be good enough, because the thrusters that are opposite each other need to know what each other are capable of. Okay. Alright, I'm starting to get the impression that this was not going to be particularly interesting internet TV to watch. I need to do some more thinking. This is probably not worth doing here, because I don't think most of you are going to care. I will definitely go over what my thought process was when I get back to this, but I'm probably going to do a little bit of fiddling in the code. Yeah, before I really come back to this. But hey, this was great. Let's see. It's midnight. I don't really need to be done for tonight. I just can be done with this for tonight. What should we do? What should we do? I want to come back to this another time. Alright. We're gonna... Just main menu. That's fine. I'm thinking... either do some... Could do some Guild Wars. Guild Wars has been fun, because I've been playing a bunch of it. I haven't played Magic in weeks, at least. Not since the launch of Kamigawa, and I kind of want to play Kamigawa stuff. I just haven't really been inspired to actually play. I don't know if I want to stay up long enough to do some Guild Wars, though. You know what? Let's fire up Arena. I haven't had a good excuse to. Now seems like a good excuse to. So let's, while that's spinning up, I'm going to switch back to this. Hopefully this update doesn't take too long. I'm going to update my stream info. Let's see, title. Kamigawa looks sweet, because it does. I've watched other people playing Kamigawa, and it looks awesome. I just haven't actually had the inspiration to spin it up myself yet. But, alright. Well, we might have to wait for Arena to update. This may have been a terrible idea. Okay, well, maybe while Arena's updating, I actually will start up Guild Wars. I'll at least get it started. This could also create a terrible stream experience, but you know what? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. This update may go through faster than I was expecting. Keep giving it a minute. But yeah, I hope Sentinel and my whole AI thing sounds awesome to some other people, because yeah, it sounds awesome to me, and I hope I can get it to come together, and I hope I can do this stuff because it seems really fun. I I want to learn more about this stuff. Also, I really want to, like, I can see it in my head. I can see it operating. I can see all the ships flying around, it doing its own thing, and I want to play in the world where that's doing. I haven't even played that much of Space Engineers, like, as an actual game. I've played some of Survival. Did my studio just crash? I don't know if my voice is still coming through, because... Okay, here we go. I may have cut out there for a second because Twitch Studio stopped responding for a minute, but it seems to be back. I think Arena's update might be taking up a few system resources. But anyway, yeah, I can't wait to play with the end game results. We're now determining needed assets. A box is gone. Expect a new box to replace it shortly. We're full screen. Oh, Untapped. Oh, yeah, Untapped doesn't like it when Arena updates. So my overlay may not be working. Well, once this finishes, I can restart Arena so that the overlay updates. If I am going to be streaming, I might as well make sure that that's the best. First try. That's a lot of megabytes. Won't take too long though. Yeah, this maybe isn't the most fun thing, but I'm just chilling. It's been a pretty chill night. Problem is, I'm not sure what to talk about now. But I suppose it's not a huge deal. Yeah, from what I've seen of the new Kamigawa set so far, I'm impressed with the I mean, I guess with the design. Like, that feels very vague in general. I'm thinking about, the art design, and I guess style design in general. When they talked about doing this kind of cyberpunk sort of thing, it's like, all right, that sounds cool. Does that sound like Magic? Maybe less so. But yeah, the integration of using lots of vehicles and lots of equipment, um, it it just kind of works. It works really well, and it gets the flavor they were looking for, and it still looks like Magic. And it's neat that they were able to balance that against, the spiritual side that I understand was very prevalent in the old Kamigawa. I wasn't playing Magic yet when old Kamigawa was around, so I've seen cards from it. I've certainly own a few, um, but I didn't have the same nostalgic reaction to the new set as many players did. I know. But the way that they balance those, the spirits, the nature and spirituality and whatever against the technology of
the artifacts, the vehicles. Um, looks really cool. Looks really cool. And like I said, looks like Magic, which I wasn't totally sure that it was going to. Yeah, and I say this as somebody who hasn't actually played with any of the new cards yet, but hey, we're about to change that. The fact that there are so many modular, uh, I mean, that's a fine word, but not quite what I wanted. Versatile. The fact that there's so many versatile cards, the things with reconfigure that can be creatures or equipments. Um, the, I mean, there are a lot of modal cards. Um, not not modal double. I don't think there are any modal double-faced cards in this set, um, but just ones that have choices. The double-faced cards though are in a way versatile too. I think they might all be sagas. I don't remember if they're all sagas, but sagas that turn into creatures are definitely interesting. The way that interacts with like ninjutsu to bring them back to your hand and reuse them as sagas again is very cool. It just, from what I've seen, which has mostly been through loading ready run, um, the number of different interactions is impressive, and is very me. I like to I like to build a deck with lots of options. Um, I like to be able to be theoretically able to deal with anything. You know, there are plenty of decks that they've got a game plan. Wow, Arena, that was a lot of noises. Are these from the new Alchemy updates, I guess? I remember now, sort of remember seeing Alchemy updates come across online. Oh, yeah. These got banned in Standard, too. Sure. Hi. Yep. Great. Mm-hmm. Great. More Alchemy updates. Yep. Yep. Hey, look at all those wild cards. Thanks. Okay.
You did it!
Cool.
I'm so proud of you.
Hi, Sparky. Yeah, I collected all 10 decks a long time ago.
But now, the whole multiverse will know. Bye. You know where to find me.
I suppose I do. Bye, Sparky. Alright, well, now that we're finally into the game, I'm going to restart the game so that the untapped overlay shows up. Just in case there's anybody actually hanging around that wants to see it. Alright. Well, guess I should check the daily sales in the store. Cool, cool, yeah. The big mythics, the planeswalkers, and the praetor. Not gonna get any of those. Oh yeah, there's a code for. I think it's just play Neo. Ah, 3 free packs. Thank you very much. All right, what do we got? I mean, that's great, but that's super boring. Exile a card from an opponent's graveyard. Oh, and get them all. What is it? Thought extraction or something like that. I mean, there are several cards of this type, I guess. Surgical extraction. I think that's the card I'm thinking of. So, get all
all of that card out of their graveyard, hand, and library. And you can play one of them. Oh, that's very cool. I like how she's a ninja, but she doesn't have ninjutsu or anything. She just has this cool ability and just happens to be a ninja. That's a super cool ability, though. Very fun. Farewell. That'll be nice to have a copy of for brawl decks and whatnot. Okay, what do I play? I guess I usually will do a sealed of each new set. Oh, that means I have to spend gems. I can spend gems, it's fine. Probably won't get 6 wins. I don't know if I really want to draft. I could probably draft a fine deck. I do have a token. Yeah, screw it. Let's do it. I know most of the cards. I know enough of the cards. I don't know if I know most of the cards. I know what enough of the cards are, the themes. I could probably draft all right. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm not going to finish this draft tonight, but or finish all the games. But I'll play a couple. All right. Wish me luck. Jugan defends the temple. Well, that looks awesome. That looks incredibly good. I think there's very little reason not to take that, but it's cool. Oh, I do like this card. This card looks very sweet, and I am partial to red, but I don't think I can justify taking it over the mythic. I mean, this is certainly not the most bomby mythic, I don't think, but looks pretty great. Oh, that's kind of fun. Sure. Is that seems decent. Yeah, decent. I'm also just curious about what else is here. That seems good. Having channel for a plummet. It's not bad, especially when you want modified creatures. Alright. Jugan it is. Alright. Artifact. Oh, that's very cool. Land. I do like that. Oh, that seems strong. This seems like, I mean, it's kind of expensive, but also seems like potentially really powerful removal. That seems like solid removal. This is probably better removal in general than spinning wheel, like just more consistent. But yeah. I mean, like, I'm probably going to want to play green, but this could also theoretically just be a splash. I feel like this is the safe pick. That seems good. That one looks really strong. Very good with ninjas, that's for sure. Modified attack alone.
seems like a strong reconfigure creature. It's pretty good. Removal. Oh, fixing. Yeah, that's good. Tempted to go with this removal or with this vehicle. I don't know. This vehicle seems a little more like build around, but also I don't know. It might just creature or vehicle. Okay, so that can't hit like the enchantment or anything. I guess this could go with the like this could go with the enchantment creature, but I don't know. I think this has the potential to be really strong. So I just kind of want to see. It's only 3 picks. The shrines could be really cool. Actually, this is a really good shrine too. I mean, just for the first chapter, this seems good. And you get a creature later that draws you a card. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I mean, I definitely think it's one of these that I want. I kind of want to take the shrine. I kind of wonder if this is the better card, but I kind of want to take the shrine. Wheel kick, all right. That seems fine. Depending on what comes back around to us, we might actually, like, there might be a lot of green and white available to us. I think I kind of just want to take the spinning wheel kick. So this stuff doesn't seem super exciting. I guess that can be pretty strong, I suppose, for 2 mana that's gets blocked as a 3/3. The flying vehicle also is good. I kind of just want at least a copy of this, right? Oh, wow. That's probably solid. I think green and white is kind of the enchantment creature thing. That seems like it would be good. I kind of just like this as a solid creature that fits the green-white theme too. Because we've seen a couple cards go by that care about enchantments. I think I'm leaning towards trying to stay largely in these colors at this point. Huh. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. I kind of like that, but I feel like this is good. Oh wow, it's an expensive tap, but a tapper is not a bad thing, and on a 1/1 flyer seems very good. Okay, I mean that looks fine. This seems alright too. I think I'd take the flying tapper though. That definitely has potential in our deck. And I mean, these cards don't seem worth. I think I like this as a... Let me actually read this properly. Oh, okay. Okay, that's not awesome. But, I think I'm fine with one of them. Modified creature. So yeah, modified is mainly in green and red, I guess. Don't know if I'm playing either of these likely, but take it. Might play the equipment. At this point, don't think I'm playing these. Ooh. I mean, that's just good, right? 6/5 for 5 that can also ninjutsu and regrow stuff. The shrine's cool. It's cool. That's a fun card. Kind of wish I could play that. Yeah, seems good. Just curious what else is in here. I mean, I should get something else useful from this pack. But yeah, I don't think we can not take that. Lizard Blades. That's pretty sweet. Okay. Okay. Intriguing. Kind of like having this as, I mean, not that I have super expensive stuff, but having that option to ramp things seems good. I kind of wish the channel on this untapped as well, but that's just spider whatever that was in the last set, right? I don't know. I might grab one. I think right now, I think I kind of want a second cultivation though. All right. Play an additional land. Okay, that seems fine. I'm not getting anything out of that. That would be fine. The Haven's probably not bad. Kind of like the Saga though. I feel like that. Seven's a lot. I should have a few enchantments. I'm not really sure that's worth. Probably not going to have artifacts and enchantments. Here we go. We can pick up a copy of this. Do I do another shrine? These other cards aren't super exciting, so yeah, I feel like this is really good. Just poop out more creatures every turn. Like it's probably making you just paying 1 for a 1/1 every turn. I don't hate that. Okay. This might be nice to have one of. That's definitely not a bad card. It's a good card. I kind of like having this, you know, a plummet in here. Plus, it's an enchantment creature. Like, just seems like it checks a lot of boxes. Of course, there's another one, and that might be better than anything else in here. Grafted Growth doesn't seem bad. You don't have a lot of big things. This might be worth having, just kind of a bonker. 5/5 Vigilance Haste. Plus, makes 2 other things bigger. I think I want to have one of those. Okay. It's certainly not a bad card. Again, not a bad card. Probably won't play it, but maybe. That seems good. I like that. Give me a plains or a 4/4 vigilance. Might try one of those. Yeah, maybe. Probably not, but maybe. None of these. It's been kind of a low curve deck. Right now I've got a few 5s and, you know, spinning wheel kick, which is admittedly at least 4. Oh, that's not a bad last pick. High. Oh man. There are actually cards in this pack that I might want. I mean, this isn't even remotely useful in my deck. But this might be. I can get another shrine. I want the shrine. Like, I can't justify playing Tezzeret. It's not like he's gonna win the game. Oh, Greater Tanuki seems like exactly the kind of card that's missing from this deck. Why would you tempt me to splash blue? My God, yeah, great. There's another Tanuki. Actually, I might just take another Tanuki. Like I said, I think that's what I want. That seems quite good. Oh, Jesus. All right, what else is in here? Oh, this is good though, right? Oh, yeah, that's very good. Yeah, we want that. I feel like this third pack is really feeding us cards that we were missing. I'm not complaining. Okay, so this just gets creatures or vehicles. I mean, at the moment, I do have creatures with mana value 2 or less. That's a decent combat trick. It's also ramp creature. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of enchantment creatures. Sure. Not like insane, but yeah, I don't want anything else here. This could come up. This just seems seven seems like a lot of mana. That's a lot of power and toughness too, but it's a lot of mana. Alright, seems unlikely I'm playing a third one of these, but you never know. I already do have I don't know, probably not playing either one. Alright. Excuse me. Please reconnect me. Okay. Um, game. Where are my cards? Oh no. Oh, okay. Okay. That's a ninja. That seems like a decent card. Hmm. Alright. Well, I think we have ourselves a pile of cards that one could call a deck. That's fine, but probably not. We'll see. I feel like I don't really care for that. Sure, 2's probably good. Yeah, maybe. Dragonfly suit's probably not there. Or, oh wait. Oh, I thought I was looking at Imperial Recovery Unit. But no, Dragonfly suit's probably not there. I don't really think Imperial Recovery Unit's necessarily worth it either. I mean, like, recurring Bamboo Grove Archer sounds really funny. Way to go, Shintai. Alright, I won't cut it yet, but I probably will cut it. I mean, that has some potential. Not an immediate cut. I have a lot of enchantments. That could easily be getting 2 cards back. I don't think that one's worth it. I don't have any artifacts. Land, turn, so costs 4 and turns a 5th land into a 4/5. With vigilance. Maybe. Honestly, I kind of like that one. Seems good, seems good, seems good. Alright, 6 more cards. Curve is alright. Mostly want to cut non-creatures. Admittedly, I have a couple, 1, 2, 3 non-creatures that do turn into creatures eventually. But, alright, take another spin through. Probably don't care about that one. I think I kind of like those. Yeah. I like that you're an enchantment creature. Yeah, we can probably cut you. I need 2 of those. We do like one of those. Do I like these? I really wish this said, like, you know, hexproof or indestructible on it. But it's literally just a +2/+2, even if half of it's likely to be permanent. Maybe I don't need 2 of those, really. Sure. Enchantment. Let's do it. Good enough. Good enough. Sure. Add to decks. Why not? Should be interesting. Yeah. Seems fine. Seems like a perfectly reasonable hand. So I could play the Go Shintai on 2. Oh, that seems like a better card to play on 2. Yeah. I mean, I may not have a 4th land to play next turn, so it may not really matter, but, you know, go ahead and get it out. Alright, alright, alright. Unfortunately, that looks like that's going to hit me. So you could ramp me, which is good. I think I'm just going to start growing this. Yeah, gonna have to not block that, unfortunately. Wow, I really wish I would have drawn lands. And I could grow the Go Shintai, and I could eat something with a thing. I could not grow the Go Shintai and either eat something or get a land. Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't love this not drawing lands thing. I didn't actually check my land, like, distribution. Ugh. Yeah. Sure. Did I need to... Yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna pray. Or... 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. So I could use this, and then they trade. I think I'm just gonna ramp. I'm just gonna let him take it out, and I'll. Well, that's really nice. It'd be really nice if I had mana to pay for it too. I could hit him for 6 and get back something from my yard. And then I'm open. The 1/3 is not going to block anything. The 3/3 can block something that I have nothing else to do. I guess I still have that. Or I grow that. Nah, this is fine. I'll keep my combat trick up. Sure. Sure. That's a good card. Yeah, let's just do that. Hi. Man. Network having some issues tonight, apparently. I probably should have restarted my game after I had that weird interaction during the draft. I'm curious if I should actually just close the game now. Kind of think maybe I should. Oh, this sucks. Oh, wait, did I just click concede? Oh, I did not want to click concede. Well, hopefully that didn't go through at least. Alright, yeah, I guess we have to wait it out. I guess I could just kill the game. Yeah, maybe just kill the game. Right, I don't know why I thought clicking buttons in the menu was going to get me anywhere anyway, since the game wasn't doing anything. It was interesting, though, that it wasn't frozen. It was just not progressing. Alright. I wonder if I paid the one or not. Wow, that was a lot of sound effects. Ah, there we go. Now I have paid the one. We're back. And now I'm a Johnny. Cool. Kinda seems like the move is to just play this and pay for one of them. Actually, I kind of like paying for this one so that I can get a little buddy to ninjutsu with. Two shrines on the board. Well, maybe. I don't have two shrines on the board yet. Ah, nice. No attacks. That's fine. Yes, I would like to pay for that one. Make some little buddies. Alright. Alright. Sure, that's problematic. So that's a 7/7 with trample. Yeah, blocking that's not gonna do a whole lot for me here. I mean, I could. Actually, hell, maybe, actually, this is probably right. Just kill it. I can attack in, I can get my Springleaf Avenger, get my Goshintai back. Yeah. No, let's just kill it. Great. Yep. Going to attack. Going to ninjutsu. Poke, poke. I would like you, please, because you seem strong. And then I cannot pay for either of those, but that's okay. Totally not a bad idea. Does he have mana to activate this? He does. And he's going to go ahead and do it. That seems fair. Alright. Well. Poke. Honestly, I think I'm going to keep getting this back. I think that's pretty reasonable. Even if I can't pay for it, like, it's going to help me go wide with this one, or go tall with itself. But I really put the pressure on now. That's a good sign. It's entirely possible the last card in his hand is... Oh, no, not a land. Nice. Sure. Now all my guys have vigilance. I have 15 life. Oh wait, he doesn't have vigilance. Okay, cool. We're good. Like, I'm pretty sure I can't lose, but I actually forgot he was tapped out, so. Yay! Alright, we won a game. Had a rough time getting that mana started, but wow, look at all this. Alright. Are you gonna be okay now, Arena? Or do I need to restart you again? Wow, that's a lot of planes. It's, however, also a lot of white cards. I mean, I like these cards a lot. They seem good, and that one's not bad either. Yeah. I'm not sure this is. It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay. Well, at least that's 4. More than welcome to hit me with that forest here, though. Nope. Okay. All right. That's pretty sweet. Okay. That doesn't really do me much good. I think we just play this. And I'm pretty sure I trade with the Death Toucher if he offers it. I think that's honestly fine. Yeah, like this still doesn't do me much good, seeing as I won't be able to cast a second spell, so I guess I just put this down. Seems good. Seems good. Yep. Okay. You know what? Let's go ahead and put this down. Not that it super matters, but might as well, right? I kind of want to attack just to see what he does. Probably just blocks, but doesn't hurt me. I don't know. I think I'm kind of okay. Yeah. Probably kills my 1/1. Oh, no. Okay. That's fair. Well, I guess I could still let him kill my 1/1. Sure. Gonna flip your saga or make your apprentice bigger? Or neither. Okay. Don't want a backseat. That seemed like a poor choice. What does this flip into? 2, 3, that makes mana. Okay. I have 6. I could just play this. That seems not super exciting. Could just play that too. Let's attack and see what he does. Oh shit, he could double block. I didn't even see that. Oh, please don't double block. Oh good. that was a very poor choice on my part. I'm just gonna put some creatures down. He could still attack with the Puzzle Maker. I can block it, but I can't kill it. It's a 3/3 that... Oh yeah, it gives me mana when it becomes blocked. Alright. So I can't hit any of his creatures unless he crews the vehicle. Like, I want to have this to ninjutsu, but also he's got blockers for days. But I could just keep up Repel the Vial and make another token. Yeah, I think we're kind of good here. I choose to chill. Oh, I guess I can hit Memory of Toshiro because it's an enchantment creature. That's an interesting choice. I block. Oh, right, you get to do that. Yeah, that's fair. Do I kill Toshiro? Let's do it. That was pretty good. There's 7 mana, so I do not have enough to play this and ninjutsu that. I could play this just to start beefing things up. Poop out another guy, and do some ninjutsuing next turn. Do I have anything? Oh, I don't even have that much to get back with the Avengers, just the 1 card. Yeah, maybe we should do this. I guess if I make make something a 4/4, like this is the Seeker. That's all right. Could even attack. Could even attack. I don't hate that. Even if it just trades with his suit. Or trades with something. I mean, he could triple block, and then it trades with the 2/4. That's fine. It's not great. Oh, he passed the blockers already. He can't. I think he's wants to crew the suit now. But he's past the blockers already. I think the triple block is better than. Oh, maybe he can. Okay. Never mind. Honestly, I think the triple block was better than trading the suit. Or it's just not gonna block. Oh, okay. He did miss it. Oh no. Oh, sorry, man. Yeah. That's a hard one to time right. So when you're playing paper, it's really easy to just, oh yeah, crew this and block, but you have to crew it before you pass to blockers so that it's available when you're choosing blockers. Oh, one more? One more. Then I should go to bed. Three, four. Decent thing that can ramp me. I mean, this is fine. Kind of wish I had like one of my 2-drops to put down, but it's probably fine. So 3-2, yeah. The ward one, yeah. Little 2-1. Little booger. Grixis, A. Oh, excuse me? What the hell's on the back of this? Oh no. Oh, that's very bad. Alright. Mm-hmm. So next turn is gonna flip, but can't attack. Rude. Yeah, I'm just gonna be taking some damage here. I mean, there's no way he blocks this. I would love to trade the Blade Blesser, but yeah. Next turn I can play my other shrine and a land, and I still have mana up to pay for both shrines and the combat trick to block the Vessel of the All-Consuming. So that's the plan. Discard a card. Means discard a land or discard the Tanuki. Much more likely to draw another land. Plus the Tanuki gets me a land if I draw like just actual factual nothing. Sure, that's fine. Yeah, we're just gonna chill here. I don't think I really want to attack with the Bearer of Memory. Like, I'm tempted to. I don't think I need to, though. Oh, I get to put on any shrine? Ooh. Oh, yeah, let's put it on this one. Certainly making his attacks harder. I could get blown out hard by an instant speed removal spell, though. So let's not do that. Making him think, that's probably good. What does this turn into? 2/2 with Menace. And that's it at the moment. Ooh. I didn't notice. I did not see the reconfigure coming. Yeah. So I will lose whichever creature I block with. I think this is fine. I think this is fine. It's unfortunate that I lose the creature, but at least I killed the thing. At least I killed the thing. Yeah, I guess Tanuki can just be here. Plus I can trigger both of those if I play these two, so... Yeah, no, that seems great. We'll just play these and chill for right now. No attacks. I will build up my defenses. Sure, put them on this one this time. Let's see if we can get these shrines really out of hand. Is this 4 to tap or 5 to tap? 4. Okay, that's nice. If I had a land, I can favor both shrines and still have Moth Rider Patrol up if I really need it. Cool. So you are unblockable if you're tapped. yeah, we're just gonna continue building up. Like, I mean, and he can untap the Futurist Operative after blocks, but before damage, so it gets in for 3 if he doesn't have a ninjutsu value creature. I don't really feel like being bonked for 3 every turn. That sounds terrible. Do I tap it? I think I tap it. Oh, he could technically pay to untap it and then attack. And he would still have the mana to untap it again. Hi, what are you? You're rude is what you are. I don't like that. Jesus. Okay. Is this just another, I think this is just another get bigger turn. Kind of want to attack, but with all my creatures at -2, -0, that's not nearly as good. I am going to need to start getting some damage in eventually, though. I know that he can just untap it multiple times, but he may not want to spend the mana on that, or totally realize he can. No, I think he's got it. Or he may want to, I mean, yeah, he may want to spend his mana on other things, so. If he wants to deal damage to me, I'm going to make him spend an extra 3. Okay, so that's just doesn't untap anymore. Cool. Great. Awesome. Love it. Right. So do we just keep getting bigger? I think I'm gonna play a Tanuki. I think I would like to make the 2 creatures. Either way, it's adding 2 power to my board, but the shrine can just be killed. I mean, technically, he could hit me with a sweeper or something that wipes out all my tokens, but the lone shrine feels a little bit more vulnerable than 2 tokens, so. Yep, don't like that. You know what I'd really like to see is that... What the... Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. Now I can't attack. Alright, at least I can pay for both things now. Next turn may very well just be a swing out and pray it's enough. I do have 3 large trample creatures and 12 tokens, so it might be. With what's on the board, I don't think he can kill me this turn. Because, yeah, he can do that 7. Yep. Yeah, I just gotta pray that what I have is enough. still love to draw the Snake Ninja, because that's 6 power instead of 1 from one of the tokens. I'm not going to count up the math right now. That's really the only move, so. Let us pray. Of course, my opponent keeps waiting. Like, I don't blame him for waiting. I know he's in the tank. I'm just antsy because I have no decisions to make. Oh, land. That's not gonna help. All right. Flunge. You get to do the math, coward. Oh. All right. It's done. I'm gonna start doing the math. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blockers. So blocks the 2, 3 power things. He's got 4 blockers remaining. But then their toughness matters because of the trample creatures. I think he's safe. I don't think I have this. Goshen Tie Boundless Vigor is a 9/9. That's a lot. That's a lot. Alright. Yeah, I'm going back to my original statement. I'm not doing the math. I kinda want to do the math. See if he blocks optimally 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. Oh no! I think I have Exactsies, even if he blocks perfectly. Oh, don't get me excited like that. No, I think he's dead. Unless he may have a card. He may have a card. Well, we got there. I do believe he blocked suboptimally. So even with the card, yeah, no, I think he actually might have been able to survive that, but I was doing that math really fast. I certainly don't blame him. That was ridiculously close in any case. All right, let's open some packs. A pack. Look at all these new cards. That's awesome. This card seems sweet. This card seems sweet. It's just fun. Yep. Seems super fun. If it were legendary, it would be used as a commander in so many places. Oh, that's awesome. I love the art for the token. I kind of want to know, because I would assume that the arms and legs are all specific references to vehicles and or artifact creatures, but I'm not going to be able to identify them all myself. But that's awesome. Awesome art. Alright. Well, I need to go to bed. It's late. But this was fun. I'm glad I got a chance, an excuse to log into Magic again, because I just haven't. It's just not been at the front of my mind. I've been doing other stuff. Yeah. But yeah, getting to finally bust out Sentinel and show some of that off was awesome too. I anticipate streaming that a lot, assuming I am comfortable streaming it. And it doesn't just seem like a total drag to watch me sit and think. But like I said many times throughout that first half of the stream, I am excited as hell to get that rolling. Yeah, and then got to play some fun Magic. But Anyway, I'll quit stalling and actually call it a night. Thanks for watching. Hope you had some fun. Maybe even feel like coming back to see more of one of these things. But in any case, hope you have a good long rest, and I hope you recover all of your spell slots. Good night.